Hello, this is Joe Dexter, Ace Reporter, and I am going to discuss some news for you, and we are back in the studios. This is coming from CBS News. Social Security recipients may get biggest cost of living bump in almost 40 years. By Amy Petit from July 13th, 2021. And when this is aired, it's going to be aired earlier on Patreon at the Joseph Vivaldi Network, and it will be airing later on Spreaker. The 69 million Americans who collect Social Security are on track to get the biggest cost of living hike since 1983, with one advocacy group for senior citizens projecting a 6.1% increase to benefits due to surging inflation. The bad news: recipients will have to wait for that bump because Social Security Administration adjusts its payments only once a year, starting with December benefits that are paid in January. This means seniors and other Social Security beneficiaries wouldn't receive the cost of living adjustment until January 2022. This is going to be difficult for many because they need the increase now and they gotta wait 6 more months for it, and for the most part they need to wait 3 more months if you're listening to the podcast on Spreaker in September. The fact of the matter is, some people haven't even gotten their refunds yet, and they put it in March, but the IRS is backed up, and many people who haven't received it are from senior citizens who count on that income. So, help is getting there slowly, and I figure I start the podcast with this because I want to set the tone for the year to come. In the meantime, prices for everything from gas to groceries are rising at a time when Social Security recipients got what was among the meagerest of COLA adjustments in recent years. A 1.3% increase for 2021. As the pandemic eases, a rapid reopening of the economy is fueling pent up spending for goods and services that in many cases remain in short supply, prompting inflation to jump 5.4% in June compared with a year earlier. Based on June's inflation numbers, Social Security recipients next year will see the biggest Cola increased since 1983, when a 7.4% bump went into effect, according to a new forecast from the Senior Citizens League, a nonpartisan group that focuses on issues relating to older people. Let's just say inflation is rising with an influx of money coming in. You know, inflation is going up, and when prices go up and you don't have money, it hurts. And it's the value of the dollar. But we'll get more to that later. One meal a day. Continue with the same article. Some seniors are struggling with excuse me. Thank you. Some seniors are struggling with higher inflation, which is eating into the buying power of their benefit checks, said Mary Johnson, Social Security and Medicare policy analyst at the Senior Citizens League. One retiree wrote to her group to say they had to cut back to eating one meal a day because of higher costs for medical care and other expenses, she noted. The Social Security Administration will announce its annual COLA adjustment in October, which is based on the average rate of inflation over the prior 3 months. To be sure, inflation could recede during the summer and early fall, potentially resulting in a lower COLA rate for 2022 in the Senior Citizens League is forecasting. The article continues, and I will read till completion. Economics predict that inflation could slow later this year, but that depends partly on supply bottlenecks easing, according to Oxford Economics. The big concern is that the current high inflation gets built into consumers and businesses' expectations, leading to higher long-run inflation, as happened in the 1970s. Gus Foucher, chief economist at PNC Financial Services Group, said in the research note, but that eye-popping inflation might not last, given that only a handful of products account for the bulk of higher prices, such as used cars and gasolines. And prices were weak a year earlier when much of the U.S. economy was still shuttered due to the pandemic, which may lead an overstatement of inflation. I know inflation because when I'm getting my coffee at Starbucks or wherever I go, well, I'll just say Starbucks. The price for coffee, if you don't say the right thing, it could charge you about $6 50 cents, maybe even $7. I mean that's for a coffee. I mean, Starbucks wants to curb their prices because they're going through shortages, and their on phone app is leading them to shortages, so they're trying to jack up the price just to slow down the buying. But I don't know. It's a lot of businesses hurt. I mean, you look at McDonald's, for example. McDonald's was hurting during the pandemic. They didn't have inside seating, and I remember speaking to somebody and wondering when their business was going to open up for the public, and then they said, "Hey, we're short of staff." Not mentioning who said it, but they're like, "We're short staff and we don't have the funding right now. We lost money during the pandemic. They don't have enough money to clean the tables, and they don't have enough staffing for that. So they're working, longer hours and shorter staff, and some of them are good. Well, it's just frustrating, huh? It's like these places like that, and we're not even going to mention, places of retail that had to stay open. They were in demand, and now the prices are going up. So when you have, it's like when you have the finance going up and you're jacking up the price $15 an hour to $20 an hour, you're gonna think, if the standard of living is gonna go up with all that, oh, sorry. Hold on 1 second. If the standard of living is gonna go up, and the workers' rate is going up, Social Security rate is going up for the insurance, you gotta think that the disability has gotta go up too. At least they gotta be on par. But right now, they're lagging, they're falling behind, and you have jacked up prices for workers, and the price is too high, so they're gonna want to. But there needs to be some kind of structure that could help curb and get everybody on par. Because there's inequality in America that many people profited off of COVID, and there's a lot of income that was lost due to COVID, and what happened to that money. So you need to think of just certain things like this, and I'm just setting the tone for the year. Even so, Social Security payments had lost buying power even before this year's high inflation, and this is back to the story. According to a report from Senior Citizens League, government retirement benefits have lost about 1/3 of their buying power since 2000, the group found. That's due partly to health care expenses, such as Medicare premiums rising much faster than inflation. And you take into account last year was COVID. It's probably through the roof now. Um, it's my commentary. Uh, there are some efforts to overhaul how COLAs are calculated. Re- Representative John Garamendi, a Democrat from California, introduced a bill this month that proposes the Social Security Administration considered a different measure of inflation that better reflects seniors' real expenses. Under the bill, the SSA would be required to use the so-called Consumer Price Index for the elderly, which rose at an average rate of 3.1% from 1982 to 2011, compared with the increase with a 2.9% increase for the index that's currently used. Let's face it. If you're living in New Jersey, there is a high cost of living. Let's face facts. New Jersey is an expensive state. Which, I could discuss without the show of discontent in Woodbridge, New Jersey, but I'll put it bluntly. It's an expensive state. If you're not working or on disability, you're limited with the amount of money that you can make. You're limited amount of what you can do, and you have to fight a disability, and you have to make ends meet, trying to scrap whatever change you could do, and that's why I do pod. That's why people may podcast, people may do art, people may do whatever because they're compensating for whatever they don't have, and even write music. It's difficult for many. Some people, they may have traumas, from COVID, mental health traumas, and amongst everything else. And it is whatever it is. It's just daunting, to say the least. I'm going to, normally I would do more stories, but I'm going to do these episodes around 20 minutes to 30 minutes, so I'm going to give plugs. I'll give a shout out to the Joe's Writers Club. And they are coming along. They're doing well. I give them their props and try to plug them if I can. I'm plugging One Main Financial. A mention that Joseph Evaldi, or shall I say the Joseph Evaldi Network, sent you. They have helped with a loan, and as far as I can, I'm paying it the best that I can, and it's what you gotta do. I mean, if you need a loan, reach out, and they're there. Also, I'm gonna say I'm going to plug The Driving Dream. Apply what you like to your boring job. And that's available on Kindle and Audible. It's narrated by Tony Schiapetta. It's a book about honing your skills and finding your purpose in a job or in a passion of a job that you may want to have in life and in a career. Also, check out the Joseph Vivaldi Network, which is on Spreaker and also Patreon, like at www.patreon.com/the Joseph Vivaldi Network. Yes, we're available there. And check out our blog, the Joseph Vivaldi Network blog.com or .blogspot.com, I should say. We're going to be working on content for the network. We'll see what we can do to build the network up. Maybe that would be coinciding with my eBay page, but we'll work on a format from there. But we have a lot of things in store. It's good to be there and check us out. This is the news for Joe Vexer. That was Joseph Vivaldi speaking, and have a very good night. And this is the Ace Reporter. Till next time, have a good night.